This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so I think in the last session, we started creating one of the component. So this component, after creating this, we are going to open this one. Sorry. So we are going to open this one by clicking on one of the custom quick action which we are going to create. Okay, and also at the time of maybe opening this component, so we are planning to place this component on the account record page, account lightning record page, and when we click on the action, it's going to launch one of the pop-up, and automatically based on the account, we are going to quickly create the contact. Okay, so when we create the contact, by default the contact will be associated to the account, and it will be creating the contact. So that's what we are planning to do. So just I think in last session I showed you how it will give the record ID. So let me open one of the account. Go to accounts. So I'm opening one of the account, and this is one of the quick action which we created, quick contact, and we created without header, without any standard actions, lightning quick action without header. So that's why you are not seeing any header under some of the standard actions. This ID we are getting. So for now, maybe we don't want to show on the UI. So now we are going to provide some input fields where the user can enter some of the fields of the contact, and after populating, when we click on save, the contact will be saved into database automatically by associating this contact with one of the account. And so that's what we are going to do. So first of all, let's say when you place this quick action in a wrong place, maybe in some other object, and somehow the record ID whatever we are expecting is not the account what we are thinking. So for that, so maybe first I want to cross check really the account is present in the database or not. Or maybe sometimes what will happen, we open the account and we're trying to click on this quick action and trying to do the operation. Maybe by the time we click on save, someone deleted the account. So that time, so to cross check really the account is present in the database or not. So first I'm going to take one attribute to retrieve the account from the database and check really the account is present in the database or not. And also we are going to create a new contact to hold that information. So I'm defining some of the attributes. Okay, so just here all the attributes in one place. Attributes we are going to keep here. So I'm defining one of the attribute RR attribute, and the name of the attribute I'm giving as account, and type equal to I'm giving as data type as account type. By default I am not assigning anything. So there are some situations where we need to give the default value. For example, maybe for account we are planning to query from the database. Maybe if you want to give input, if you want to use this attribute and provide some input from the UI, so that time for sure we have to mention in the default value in one of the attribute, we have to mention the object type saying we are dealing with the contact. Okay, otherwise we have to handle that in the Apex code, which will be complex. Okay, so now in general, when you are developing a component, and if you feel that you are going to create the new instance of that object and populating the information or updating the information newly, Then along with the type, right, this is the type contact. So always we have to give the default value. The default value, so all we need to do. So basically all the input, whatever we give into this contact will go in the JSON format, in the object format. Okay, so here, so as a default, so what I want to give in the object, S object type. So I want to give this S object type as contact. So this is one thing which is required. Okay. Maybe for account, because I'm not going to populate the account. Already whatever is already present in the database, we are querying and storing. So that's why for that having default value is really not required. Okay. So now, so maybe let's keep some heading. Okay. So we are creating the new contact, keeping the heading. So for heading, to inspire, so how the heading looks, go to component libraries, maybe here, go to Lightning Design System website. Just I want heading. So go to components and you see headers. Maybe you see page headers like this, right? So the page header uses the class as a base mainly for showing the heading. Okay, so just I'm copying that. So the page header, basically, if you see this entire background highlighted, that kind of style it will give. Okay, so I'm taking the page header, and for this, for heading, so maybe here you can inspire from some of the styles, heading, title, some of all this. So header row is there, header and column title is there, name title is there. I don't want something like that. So maybe here, so if you see, these are some of the styles. Okay, so just I'm looking for the proper one. Or anyway, so maybe if you want, maybe choose one of this style. So let's say I want to use a H1 tag for heading. So when you use this style, it is only restricted for H1 tag. Okay, maybe I want this. Maybe if you are not able to find like that, just maybe whatever existing is there from there, just keep it and try to do. Okay, so now I'm using that style for H1 tag, and here I'm going to keep the heading. So let's say I'm giving the heading, and also as a subtitle. So this contact is for which account? Maybe I also want that account to show here. So let's say instead of hard coding, we are going to query and place here later. So whatever that account, whatever is there, that account dot the name, we are going to show that as a heading. Heading 2. That means it's the size is less than the normal heading. Okay. So that's the header part. Okay, we are going to show that as a heading. And if you want to see the preview so far, so maybe deploy and you can see the preview so far. So meanwhile, so maybe let's say we are going to store first name, last name, email, phone, some of the contact information. So maybe before we had that. So let's see the preview so far. Just to refresh. So click on quick contact. So now header is nothing, right? New contact. Sorry. So quick contact. So nothing is there. Is it really saved? Okay. So I should not give this. Okay. So when we copy the styles, right, we have to give only the class name. Somehow I have added that dot also. So that's the problem. Go back and just refresh. Click contact. No, also nothing is there. I think there might be the catchy problem. Anyway, we know that this won't show. That is fine. At least this should be showing. Okay, maybe let me deploy and see. Or sometimes there might be a catchy problem. System takes some time to maybe refresh. Yeah, nothing is there. Okay, so at least this should come up. So let me inspect and see this. This is our latest HTML. Inspect. So inside that, basically we're keeping the content. So inside that, nothing is there. Okay, and also we might be facing the catchy problems. So let's check. Click on setup. There is a browser catchy. I think I did not remember we disabled that. Let's see. So left side, search for session settings. Click on session settings. And if you scroll down, scroll up. So here, enable secure and persistent browser caching. Due to this, what will happen? It won't frequently check in server to get the latest information of that pop-up. It will be looking into the browser cache, and so maybe after 10 times or 20 times when you refresh, we'll be seeing the update. So what we did. Okay, so it's always recommended to disable this checkbox, right? So enable secure and persistence browser cache. Yeah, especially when we deal with the Lightning development. So I have disabled. Now let me refresh. It's better to press Control F5. Okay. So maybe try refreshing one more. Okay, so still it is not reflecting. So let me type something outside. See, is the class is the problem which we are using. Deploy. Refresh. This quick contact is it associated to that only? Go to object manager, account, buttons, links, and actions. Quick contact, it is associated to record the specific actions. When we deploy, is it deploying? To deploy this, let me try one more time. So what is happening? Click on inspect. This time I'm trying to see the UI code. Inside that nothing is there. So let me go back to some other account and try. So what is happening? So whatever I type, at least that should come up. So this is our account on the right. So everything is looking good. So let me.
We use the SLDS class using a test application. We extended the SLDS class, right? But
Yeah.
that over here.
Yeah, understood. But that should be only when you include this in the Lightning application.
Okay.
Basically, when you add this one to the record page or as a quick action, system can automatically apply the styles. But maybe the thing is the outside content also it is not showing, right? If you see.
Correct. Yeah.
Style is the problem. I think we are pointing to correct organization only. So everything is looking fine. Okay, so let me do one thing. Today, when we make changes, how it was previously. Previously, it was like this, right? Let's keep that. Now, just to refresh. Okay, now this is coming. I think some of the code which we are adding is it spoiling something, so that we have to see, right? So now I think this one. So the thing is this attribute, right? Whenever you want to refer the attribute, we have to give v. I think since there is a problem with that, system is maybe failing this entire thing to render on the UI. Okay, so this might be the problem. Yeah, let's deploy. Yeah, sometimes we forget. Okay, so if you observe, just let me know. Okay, just to refresh. Yeah, now it is coming up. So that's due to this. We missed this. That was causing the problem. Okay. So otherwise, I think it is fine. Just removing these things. I think it will give the proper result. So now let's include some input fields to accept Lightning input. So here label I'm giving as first name. So name, if you want, you can give, otherwise that is optional. First name. So let's say here I'm giving to identify this one. So maybe for all these fields at a time I want to capture and submit. Okay. So what I'm going to do for all these input fields, I'm going to give the same ID. And based on this ID, I identify all these fields and form the record to save into the database. Okay. And also the value for this. So whatever input we give, that should assign into v dot this contact, right? So maybe this is a new contact, right? Let's give the name like this. We are going to create a new contact. Maybe I'm naming like that. So in that, there is a field called first name. Into that first name field, whatever the value we enter, that should be stored. And also, I want to make this one as required. You can make the required so that it will show the red star. Okay. Now, quickly, I'm going to paste all this. Now, here, last name, this name, giving as last name, and this whatever we enter should store in the last name. In the same way here, I want to store the email. So basically, when you use the input, so what is the type of the input? If you don't mention any type, by default the system treat as text. So if you want to do the validation, let's say whatever email we give, it should be in the email format. So I have to mention the type. Okay, so let's say type email. So I want the type as email. Okay, so if we don't know about this, so what we can do, we can go to the component library. It's always better to mention the type based on which type of input we are giving. Text means if you don't mention anything, by default it is text. But if you deal with the email or currency or the phone, in those situations, it's always better to mention the type. If you don't know, so here we have the component library. We can look into that and get it. Right. So if it is email, if you see the type email, and if it is phone, right? So see TEL so that it will format the number whatever we enter. So always I recommend you to keep those things, right? So maybe so this is a label email and this is email. Whatever we enter should store into this email. In the same way, this one is for mobile. Mobile contact field. So for mobile, the API name in the contact object is mobile phone. Again, if we don't know, we should not blindly give mobile. We have to go to contact fields and see the API name. Okay, I know that the API name is mobile phone. So we have to give like that. And also type. So type, since it is phone type, it's better to mention that. Okay. So these are a few points we should know. And finally, after filling all this form, we are going to save this form, right? So let's maybe add a few buttons to save. Lightning button, one button, label, save. Okay. In the same way, cancel. Let's say I want this save button variant. Again, if we don't know, go to lightning button and see the variant. So we have brand one of the variant. It will show in the blue color. And the variant, we have neutral. I think so. One of the variant. Okay. In case, okay, so it won't take much time to see that. So if we are not sure about the variant type, you can quickly look into that. Right? So for neutral, So the variant, so lightning button, I think for neutral, no need to mention anything. If you don't mention anything, by default it is neutral. Okay, base means like this. Okay, so if you don't mention anything, it is neutral. If you want, maybe you can also include. So variant, so we also have neutral in the brand. So I believe spelling is correct. So we can do that. So now that's it. This just we are done with the UI. So let's maybe we do all validations and make sure we are submitting the right form. So before we are doing that, just see the preview so far. Okay, so quick contact, it is showing. But I think here when you give some break, I think it looks better. I'm going to keep some line breaks so that it will come down. So far, I think it is fine, the looking wise. Okay, so now just here, I'll say PR, it will add one line break. So with that, I think we're done with the UI. So now, so what I'm going to do, first I want to, as soon as we open this form, I'm going to query for the account based on the record ID. So due to this interface, since we are inheriting this interface, internally, there is a system attribute with the name record ID. No need to really mention explicitly from our side, right? So in this interface, already system defined a attribute with the name record ID. Okay, into that record ID, whatever the account we open, that ID will be stored. Okay, so based on that, I want to query and see really the account is present in the database or not. Yeah, that should happen. I don't want to click anywhere to query for the account and see whether it is there or not. As soon as we open this component, immediately system should call one function, and from there it has to make the Apex method call and get the account, and we verify whether it is there or not. Okay. So unloading of the component, if somehow if you want to automatically do something, so there are system events. Okay, system automatically fire the events when the component is initialized for the first time. Right? Let's say if there is a change in the value, if the component is first time initialized, if there is a change in the URL parameter value, all those things through events we can recognize. So there are many standard events from Salesforce. To see that, so go to component library. So left side, if you see there are many events. If you click on all, these are the standard events. Okay, so one of the most frequent standard event what we use is value init. So while calling we say value init, but while referring, how we refer. So any event, even going forward, we also discussed about the custom event handling. Any event, if the event is fired, to handle, this is a syntax, ARA handler, and the name of the event. So for value init, the name of the event should be init. Value should be always this action, and whatever the function you want to call, that we can call. Right? So this line, just copy, and let's say, so in the components, most of the times we handle many things, many events. Right? We simply say handlers, and this is init handler. Okay, so now this function name, the name whatever you want to give for the function, that is our wish. Okay, in general, so on load, if you are calling, people follow the same whatever system provided naming convention, same thing. Init, do init, something like that we can give. Let's say I want to follow the same name, do init. Yeah, what will happen? This, as soon as the component is rendered before component is initialized to show on the UI, system fire a event that it will catch. And that point of time, what you want to do, we are calling this function. Here I want to make the server call. I'm going to call one of the Apex method and see whether that event is already present or not. I think already in the previous example, we know how to call one of the Apex method, right? So first, we should have the class to call. So I'm going to create a class, Apex class. So let's say record specific actions controller. This is the class name I'm giving. Okay, so first we need to associate this class to this component. Okay, through component controller is equal to, we have to associate to that class. That is one thing. So once we associate, while calling the Apex method, first of all, we should have that method created here, right? So I'm going to create. So in VS Code, we have some shortcuts, right? When you say are enabled, automatically system generate the signature. So public static. So maybe I'll say the name of the method as get account, and the return type should be the account, whatever it is going to return, right? So, and maybe here I'll say return. So I'll query for the account and I'm going to return. Okay, so here select ID. So we don't need anything else, just the account information. If at all, if you want to refer some information. So maybe if you see here on the component, we are referring the account name, right? So that means we have to query that. Otherwise, the account name won't be there. Okay, so let's say name from account, but we don't want all accounts, right? Where this method, we are going to take one input. So string or ID you can take. Let's say I'm taking string account ID. So where the ID of the account is equal to the account ID, whatever user supplied. Okay, so this is the method. Now our aim is calling this method. Already we know how to call the method. One of the rule is the method should be having @RA enabled annotation. Now we can call, right? So first I am creating the instance of the method action component dot get. So here we have to say c dot name of the method, right? So this is like instance of method. Okay, maybe once you know how we call, maybe going forward again and again, if you repeat, easily you can remember, right? Set params. We have to set the parameters, right? So maybe action dot. We have a method set params. Let's set params. So here in the object format, we are going to supply the parameters. Property name value, comma property name value, like that. Okay, so here exactly what is the name it is expecting with the same name. We have to supply the value. So we are thinking due to this has record ID, there is a standard attribute record ID. Into that, the ID will be there. Based on that, we are going to populate. So now, if you want to get the value in the attribute, okay, component dot get v dot record ID. Okay, so make sure to follow the cases. That will give the record ID. So this is just setting the parameters. Finally, calling, right? Calling Apex method asynchronously. Okay, to call that $a dot enqueue action, and instance of the class name action is the instance of the class name. So basically, first this will execute, this will execute, this will execute. Once the call is ready, the response is ready. callback, right? So first it will register the callback here. Action dot set callback. So first it register and but really it is not going to execute the function inside this. It will execute once the response is ready. It will go back and execute the function inside this. So this function will be executed later as a callback function when this response is ready. Okay, so that response when callback is ready will be into this, right? So into that, we should not think that this is the response of the fx method. So this is the high level response, whether really the method is called or not and all those things, right? So I'm defining one of the variable state. So response dot get state. Okay, so this will give either success or error or incomplete. There are many other statements. Okay, so maybe we are just checking whether it is success or not. Okay, maybe state is equal to, right, exactly to match with the data type also we use triple equal to is equal to success, else something is wrong, right? So maybe in else scenario I'll say in the console, for now since I want to handle later, I'll say error with the state, whatever the state is there, it might be error or incomplete or something. For now I'm just printing in the log. But in case of success scenario, so what we are going to do to get the real account response, right? Whatever exactly the account system is returning. So we have to say response dot get return value. This is what is having the exact the method, whatever it is returning that value, right? So this one. And so finally, I want to set this into this account attribute, right? If you want to set the value for the attribute component dot set, component dot set to refer the attribute v and account into that account, whatever we have retrieved that we are assigning. Now due to this, once unload after executing everything, you see the account record stored into this. Okay, so that's the logic. Okay, so far all this logic why we are writing unloading of the component from here, it is going to call this based on the account what we open. That account ID we are querying and checking really is that account is there or not. The result we are storing into this account. Okay, so that's the logic we wrote. But our main aim is saving the content, right? As soon as we click on save, this contact should be saved into the database, right? So that's what the main logic, what we need to do. So let's focus on that. For that, we should have a function here, right? So when you have multiple functions here, we say comma, let's say on save, one of the method we are going to use, function. So for this, so we have the component, event, helper, all those things, right? So now here, so on save to call that function, here on click in a dynamic way, c dot on save, right? That's the name of the function. Now click on this button, is going to call this one. And from here, we are going to save this one into database. Right? So before we save into database, I want to cross check really this form is populated. Without populating, if they click on save, I don't want this to proceed further. Right? So that's why first I want to do the validations. And if everything is validated successfully, then only we proceed saving the logic into the database. Okay. So here I'm taking, so maybe if so maybe I'll say is, I'm defining one of the variable because I want to change this value. I'll say is validated, maybe is valid. Okay. So this value, based on this value, if the form is valid, if it is true, then only it should proceed further. Otherwise, it should not proceed further. But here to validate, let's say I want to validate in the helper. So far, I think we are not using the helper. So we also use helper. So basically, one of the best approaches, almost writing all the logic in the helper is one of the best approach. We only use this controller for initiating the call, but most of the logic we keep in the helper. That's what people say is the best approach. In most of the projects also, you see the same thing. Okay, slowly we are going to implement in our further example. Now, to know how we call and keep, so I'm opening the helper. So let's say here in the helper, I'm going to keep a function validate form. Okay, and it is going to return either true or false. So into this component and the event information I'm supplying. So if you don't want this event, you are not using this event, you can also remove and only supply the component, right? So here we are going to write the logic. So now it is going to return, right? So valid, by default I'm saying valid, and the return valid. But in between, if you find something is invalid, we are going to place that value as invalid, false. Okay, so maybe we are going to call this, right? So now to call that, we say helper dot function name validate form. I'm only supplying the component. Now, once you call this validate form, this will be called. Now, whatever it is returning, that value it is going to assign into this. And if everything is succeeded, we are going to call save method. We are going to call save method to save the data. Okay. So now, so here, so let's do the validation. So now, so what I want to do here in the UI, right? So all the UI, all information is there in this component. I want to identify based on this local ID, okay, RID, right? All these input elements are having same ID. So I'm going to find this one, right? So when you find this, when you use RA find and find it, so component dot find, right? So here, when you give this contact field, how many elements it will return? Multiple. This is going to return all these elements information. Okay, so we have some advanced JavaScript methods. Okay, so when you have the array, and if you want to reduce that array into a single value and a return, so when we have all these elements, finally after validation, all we need is either all these fields are populated or not. I want, if all these fields are populated, I want the return value as true. If any one of the value is false, I want to return false. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so just understand about that. So maybe 1 second. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So now for that, right, there is a method called reduce, one of the JavaScript function. Before we deal with this, I'll explain about that function. Okay, how exactly that will work. Maybe to understand about that function, maybe some other place I'll keep and for our reference and without disturbing our logic. Okay, just I'm giving the function name like this, just to keep our logic as a placeholder. Okay. So reduce function, how it works. Let's say we have one array. Let's say I have some numbers, transactions. So let's say we have 100, we have 300. So we have minus 500, and we have minus 900, and maybe 2000, something like that. Okay, all these transactions we are going to reduce into one single element. I'll say transactions dot. So for that we have a method reduce, and also here in VS Code you see good documentation for that. Reduce, if you see the different parameters, right? Previous value, current value, number, and current index. Sorry, something here you are seeing. So maybe for you, maybe to understand. So this, so reduce function mainly we have to iterate over a callback. So each and every value in the reduce, so we have to use a callback function. This function, what exactly it will hold? Accumulator means what is the current value. Okay, so let's say the default value I'm giving as 0. Okay, so now I want to add all these numbers and return the final result, right? So the default value of the accumulator, right, just it is a variable name what I give, it will hold the current value. It's like a, I mean the value whatever everything we add finally into this, it will hold, right? So now the current value for each and every element, the current value, so maybe I'll say current value 100, 300, for each iteration the value will be holded into this. Okay, and also index, right? First element 0th index, second element first index, right? And array, so this entire array information will be holded into this variable. So that's the default behavior. Okay, so when you use reduce and when you have the array, when you are using reduce for the array, for each and every element, one function, callback function. By default accumulator, the value we have to give here, what is the default value we want to give? This is the current value, 100 first time, second time 300. This is index if you want. If you are not using, no need to define. This parameter is for index. This is array, the current array. So really, if you want to know exactly what all these things it is getting, we can also use console.log So just print all these values and see, so that you will understand how exactly it is giving these values. Okay, comma, index, comma, and the current value. So I'm giving all these things, and maybe to execute that quickly, W3 schools. So maybe I want some quickly see the result. Just I'm inspecting this. I'm going to execute and see the results quickly. I need to just keep in script. In between, I'm going to keep this logic script spelling wrong and execute. Okay. So run it. So now if you see, okay, so here first time the default value is 0, and also I'm not returning anything. So this expects a return. Since I did not give any return value, everything next time onwards it is keeping return type as undefined, right? So this is the default value. This one I'm saying we are setting to 0. Next time onwards, whatever we return, that becomes the default value, because I am not keeping any return statement. So that's why it is returning undefined. Okay, but this is for index. First time 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 until 5 elements, and also this is for the array. Right. So here, so to add the logic to add, right? Return. So return. So whatever the accumulator, the current value is 0, right? Plus, and whatever the current value is there, right? 0 plus 100, 100. If it returns 100, now current value will be 100. 100 plus again 300, 400. 400 plus minus 500 minus 100. So like that it will iterate. So finally here, right, you will see the final returned value as the total sum, right? The final result. So when you store this value into one of the, right? So let's say total value console.log. I'm giving the total value. Total value. Okay, so if you see altogether the total value, it is saying minus 14, total 24,000 minus 14 is, yeah, total value is 1000 it is giving, right? So this is an example that when you have an array, to reduce that array into a single element, in that time we use the reduce, one of the concept. So why I am explaining, because here I am going to use that, so that to understand how we understand that I am explaining. In the same way, when you deal with the, so let's say same thing, when you are dealing with the Boolean values, right? So let's say Boolean values, you have true, false, true, maybe true. So what I want from this, if all are true, then only I want the return value as true. If any one of the false value is false, I don't want that. The entire thing should be false. So I want like that. Now I am iterating over each and every Boolean. Now this accumulator will be holding that Boolean value, right? So by default I am saying maybe true, right? So default value I'm saying true. So true, true, true. So here maybe I'm keeping all this in same. So here what I want, the current value, the accumulator value is true, right? First time true. And I'll say end the current value. So what will happen? First time it is true. The current value also true. True, true become true. Now next time the accumulator value is true. True, false. Right? True, false will become false, right? Next time the accumulator value is false. False, true, false. False, true, false. Finally, you will see the result as false. Right? The entire result, you see this as so false. Right? Maybe this we are giving like this, and okay, if you see the final result is false, right? So if I give everything true, see final result as true. That same kind of concept I'm going to use while dealing here. Okay, just for your reference, I'm just explaining that. The same thing we are going to use here. This is the array. So far now the result of this one is an array. So reduce, and here function. So in that, so the accumulator value, right? Accumulator value, and the other one. So maybe here the accumulator value, say, is valid. Right, by default I'll say is valid is true, and I want the current value. This name can be anything, right? So let's say ours is like we are dealing with the input component. Each and every element is one input, right? So maybe we don't want we want only these two. Finally, so return. So what exactly we do is valid, and I want to validate each and every value since it is required. Really, are we populating it as required? Is it giving the value or not? So to get that, so whether it is a valid, that means whether they entered the value or not. Okay. So we can say dot get. So there is attribute v dot valid. If that is there, and the attribute value is valid. So actually, this is how we use to know whether, as per the validation, the input value is valid or not. Okay, maybe if you see the documentation, you will get it. Otherwise, there are some alternative functions. So what you can do, go to component library and maybe use a function. So we are dealing with these input types, right? So go to input. Okay, so now maybe go to specification. So here we have this check validity. Maybe instead of doing that, if you are comfortable with this, returns a valid property to indicate whether the input has a valid or it is having error or not. So let's say maybe if you are not comfortable on using that, alternative to that, we can also use that. Okay, maybe I'm just keeping that in comment. Now in the documentation we are seeing, right? So the component to dot, we can give this check validity. If the input value is given, then it will be true. Some error is there, then it will return false. Right? Somehow, if at least out of 4 elements, if one of the element is having false, the final result of this one will become false. Right? So So let's say here I'm defining a function, all valid, all the fields are valid or not. Okay, if all are valid, then only the result will be valid, right? And also here I'm checking if everything is valid, it's fine, but not valid, then this valid value I'll make it as false. That's not valid. Even if it is all valid, I want to verify the account whatever we have is the account is having the previously, if you remember, we queried for the account and stored into this variable, right? I want to know whether this is empty or it is having the value. So we have $a dot util. There is a function called is empty, and here and supply here to get that. So now in this attribute, whether this really it is having the value or it is having empty. So I'm trying to get that. Okay. So in case everything is valid, but the account is not there, then again I'll say finally, so the valid is false, right? So like that here, all we are doing the validation. Okay. If this validation is passed, finally here we see the value as true is valid form, then only we are going to save the method. That saving part we'll see tomorrow. Okay. So any questions before ending today? Anyway, I'll repeat tomorrow. Again, continue with the saving that. Okay. Continue tomorrow. Thank you.